I'm in a place I wanna be. I'm fighting things no one can see. Why are they still?
Hey, so I wanted to chat with you guys today about fasting, the glycemic index, carb cycling, things of that nature. I get a lot of questions on them, and I wanted to talk to you about it. So, that's what we're going to be talking about today. It's, I think a lot of people mistake what intermittent fasting is and how it affects your body and the things that you do. So I want to talk a little bit about that today. We're only going to be a quick chat, about 15 minutes. So intermittent fasting versus carb cycling, and what exactly is intermittent fasting? How long? Because so it's like, I put something in my mouth, I'm no longer fasting. 5 seconds from now, I'm in a fast again. That's not exactly how it works. Intermittent fasting is something that takes time. Something that
Fasting versus carb
let me get this volume down here. You have to spend your time intermittent fasting. At least I want to say about 14, 15 hours in a fast, because you need your body to clean out on a cellular level. And that's what the fasting does for you. It kind of takes the garbage out. Now, carb cycling, which is where you're eating carbs, you're not eating carbs, you're eating carbs, you're not eating carbs, is different than fasting. Fasting is where you don't eat at all. And carb cycling is actually, depending on the type of carbs you have, is kind of it could be good for you, it could be bad for you. Mostly it's going to give you problems because it's going to spike your glycemic index a lot. Now, let's talk a little bit about the glycemic index and what exactly that is. The glycemic index, for those who aren't aware, is something you should know about, especially if you're working out. Glycemic index is the amount of time it takes for sugar to reach your bloodstream and get into your cells after you consume it. So it's from digestion into bloodstream into cellular level. And that's the glycemic index. And every food has a different rating on a scale of 1 to 100. 1 being the longest. It takes a very long time for that food to be absorbed into your body and into your cells. 100 means it gets in there very fast. And so you want to watch which ones you're eating, because what happens when you're eating something that will spike your insulin is, so insulin's created in the pancreas, and it's created in response to carbs. And the carbs open the cells to receive the nutrients. When you intake carbs, you increase insulin. So if you intake a lot of fast carbs, you're going to spike your insulin very quickly. If you intake slow carbs, you have a slow rise and then a slow fall. This can affect you in a lot of different ways. Number one, it affects you energy-wise. It affects you mood-wise. It affects you throughout the day in a lot of different ways. One of the big ones is mood, because it triggers your serotonin. And your serotonin, obviously, most people know is where your mood enhancement comes from. So when you're taking a lot of carbs and you spike your insulin, your serotonin goes up. When your serotonin goes up, you get happy. Then it falls quickly, and you get moody, and you get upset, you get depressed. And people who eat a lot of high carbs, breads, very poor carbs, junk food, when they're off that carb cycle, that's where they can run into moodiness, and that's when they can run into a bad part of their day, or low energy part of their day. And it's because they're allowing themselves to peak and valley, to peak and valley, to peak and valley on a regular basis. What it also does is you wind up storing fat that way, especially if you have a sedentary style life where you're not burning those carbs. So now you're spiking your insulin, you're not burning the carbs, you're dropping, your mood drops, everything comes down, you're gaining weight. Now your mood enhancement gets worse because you're not in shape, you've gained some weight. You're spiking your insulin, you're creating mood swings. These are things you want to avoid. And these are things that a lot of people don't realize. Part of intermittent fasting, what it takes away, is it allows your body to come down from that and to even out and to clean out on a cellular level and to let your body reset for the next day's food intake. it helps you maintain a much more even keel. You can still have your highs and lows, but they're not these massive peaks or these deep valleys. They're a very happy medium, and it's a very healthy medium for you. So high glycemics are something that you want to avoid. High carb, high number glycemic value foods. Eat slower carbs on a more regular basis. They're fine unless you're doing an absolutely no carb thing, but then you've got to be very careful when you reintroduce your carbs. That can be if you reintroduce carbs and you eat the wrong carbs when you reintroduce, you can have issues that way. So when you come back, you want to eat very lean proteins, things like egg whites, chicken, legumes. You want to come back off of that in a very low glycemic scale fashion so that you're not peaking right away. My diet is very much a hybrid. I don't do a no carb. I don't do a high carb. I don't do, I do a higher fat, lower-ish carb, medium protein style diet. I have found this works for me and the lifestyle and the way I work out, but I work out a lot. So you've got to be careful depending on how much you're working out on your intake. Because if you intake a lot of calories and you don't burn them, if you intake a lot of carbs and you don't burn them, you're not going to lose weight. Conversely, if you cut dark carbs out of your diet and you start working out hard, you're going to have problems as well because you need the carbs for fuel. I've talked about this before. It's why I don't like Atkins. It's why I don't like diets that preach to you to just cut them out completely because you're depriving your body of very much needed fuel. The other thing I don't like about them is the educational aspect of them. They don't teach you anything. One of the things we're striving for here on the show, and I'm learning as I go, is to teach you how to do things, not just hand you things. Where, like I've always said, Atkins hands you a box. Here, eat it. Here's a meal. Eat it. Here's a shake. Eat it. At the end of your 12 weeks, you've lost weight, but you don't know why. Learn things like what are good and bad carbs. Learn things like proteins, when and how to take them in. For instance, protein should be taken immediately after your workout. Before you even leave the gym, you should be intaking protein. Because your cells in the midst of the workout are primed for protein intake. But within 20 to 30 minutes, they will no longer accept the protein. So you're basically just drinking it to pee it out. You want to look at when you're eating your carbs, when you're eating your fats, and make sure that you balance things out. So like my first meal of the day after a 14, 15-hour fast tends to be high fat with some carbs in it. But it's because it's my first meal of the day. So I have no problem taking the carbs because I know I've got either a gig or another workout or something, or even just the length of the day. I still have plenty of time to work through and I'm going to need that energy. When I don't eat carbs is later at night. It's one of the common myths. And, I think a lot of it is discipline. I spoke to somebody the other day who said they didn't seem to grasp that they were doing the same thing over and over with the same result. And, they said, oh, well, I want to get toned. They want to get toned, but they're eating in a fashion that's going to keep weight on, which is not going to let them get toned. There's got to be a combination of proper diet with the working out. I want to do this kind of workout so I can build muscle. Well, that's great. You can build muscle, but you're not going to see that muscle if you're still overweight. And if you want to get toned, you have to drop your fat in your body to a level where you can see things, where you're leaning out. So you've got to sort of be honest with yourself of, are you doing the same thing with no result and just feeling good about the fact that you're doing something, versus are you going to do something that matters? Learning about proteins, learning about carbohydrates, understanding the glycemic index. These are things that will teach you to understand what to do before, during, and after your workouts to make your workouts mean something. 15 to 20% of your calories should be protein. especially if you're working out, because you're going to need that for muscle rebuild. If you're eating a lot of fruit, you're like, ooh, I'm going to eat a lot of fruit. Well, a lot of fruit means a lot of sugar. A lot of sugar means a lot of insulin spikes. A lot of insulin spikes takes us back to the problem of mood swings on the glycemic index. Fruits are very high glycemic index foods. They're going to spike you quickly because of their sugar. They're going to drop you quickly when that sugar wears out. So space your fruit out throughout the day. Don't have a lot of fruit multiple times. Have a little bit of fruit a couple of times, 3 times throughout the day. And understand what different fruits do to your body as well. Everything in moderation, but understand what you're taking in. That's kind of the thing I preach, and the thing that I want everybody to sort of understand with what we're doing here with the Fit Show. It's the goal is to be healthy. It's been 6 months for me now since I started working out again, and I'm to a point where I'm maintaining the weight. I'm not having a problem maintaining the weight because I understand my eating habits now. I understand my supplement regimen of supporting my body. So this video today, me talking to you today, I want you guys to understand what the glycemic index is. I want you to understand how carbohydrates, fast and slow, affect your body. I want you to understand how protein intake affects your body. Insulin manipulation is the key to losing weight, the key to being healthy, and the key to not being moody. So, the takeaway from this, very simply, educate yourselves, do a little bit of reading. Don't go to the gym and do the same thing every day. I see people at the gym every day. They're on the same machine, doing the same workout every single time I see them. And then I hear them talk about how they're not seeing progress. But I'm here every day. I don't understand why things aren't changing. A lot of it is going to be diet. A lot of it is also going to be variance. You have to vary the things you do. Be honest with yourself. Have a conversation in the mirror. Are you doing everything you need to do? Are you educating yourself? Is your workout conducive to a full body change? Are you burning enough calories? Because once you do the same workout enough times, you don't burn calories anymore. Your body gets used to it. It shelves. So have that conversation with yourself. Learn about low carb versus slow carb versus fast carb. There's a difference, and the difference is huge. I'm John Taglieri from The Fit Show. Thanks for watching. See you.
Isn't this what I wanted after